Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp Chance Wrestling. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Mr. Chance Michaels is right there beside you. Guys, don't adjust your screen because right below us, we got the most polarizing figure in professional wrestling, former heavyweight champion of the world, one of the forefathers of the Attitude Era. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax. Here we are with Mr. Vince Russo.
What is going on, fellas? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to join you this morning. What's going on, man?
Mr.
Thanks for
Russo,
coming.
yeah, first off, thank you so much for coming on to the program. We really, really appreciate it. It's an absolute honor to have you here. We grew up with you. We watched you from the early days. Like I can say I could go all the way back to the Vic Venom days of
Yeah.
professional wrestling. And at that time there was only two other guys that were kind of doing what you were doing, Scoops and Mikasa. I don't know if you remember those two names from the early mid 90s when the internet started to kind of emerge. So I guess my first question for you, sir, is very simply, did wrestling find you or did you find wrestling?
Yeah, man. I found wrestling out of kind of necessity, man, because I had when there were mom and pop video stores, I had two. And I loved the video business, man. I would be doing that today if that were still around. But Blockbuster put me out of business, and I needed to find a job. And wrestling was something that I always enjoyed, growing up. So I figured I'd try to see if I could get myself in that business, and that's pretty much how it happened.
That's amazing. Vince, you're kind of a trendsetter a lot. A lot of people don't realize this. You were one of the first people, like before podcasting, before anything else. You were one of the first people out there with a radio show about wrestling in New York in college. How did that come about, and what was the thinking behind that? Was that to open doors to other avenues, or were you just thinking ahead of the game, man?
Nah, it was definitely to open doors, man. I used to be on a station in Long Island, WGBB, I think it was, and I literally paid $500 a week for 2 hours of radio time. And what I was doing was I was really investing in myself to try to eventually get a job with the WWF at the time, and it worked out.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid?
Oh man. Well, I mean, I was a big mark for the managers, man. The captain and the Grand Wizard and Freddie Blassie. I was a big fan of the Valiant Brothers. I loved Ernie Ladd, Chief J Strongbro. Like those were probably my favorites.
Awesome, awesome. Now, when it comes to creative philosophy and booking, what do you think? What do you think that modern wrestlers, pardon me here, what do you think that modern wrestlers get most wrong about storytelling these days?
There is none. There is absolutely no storytelling. There is a lack of characters, and everybody is a wrestler. Everybody is a wrestler, and wrestlers, I'm sorry, man, they're a dime a dozen. You could train anybody to wrestle. You could train anybody to wrestle. It's really the characters that are gonna set you apart from everybody else. And there's really a lack of them today, man. There's no more great characters.
Now, would you say, sorry, go
No,
ahead,
you go
Joe.
ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Uh, so I guess a second part of this would be like, this is kind of an epiphany that I kind of had. I've been watching wrestling since '83 myself. And we grew up with so many different generations. You name it, we've seen everything, right? Do you think we put so much emphasis on bookers and then the promoters and everything else? How much does it come down to the talent itself, though? Considering back in the day, everyone had to fight for their spot, right? It didn't matter how popular you were, you all had to work really hard. There was always that fear. Do you think that lack of fear today, that lack of guaranteed contracts and everything else, like how much is should be put onto the wrestler itself, not just bookers or producers?
Well, a lot, man, because it's a two-way street. Because first of all, I can be Shakespeare. If the wrestler does not go out and perform it, it's going to suck. So
Right.
it doesn't matter. I could write the greatest script in the history of wrestling. They got to perform it. But on the other side of that coin, a talent needs the writer to keep giving them material. to keep putting some meat on the bone for them to bring them to that next level. So it's really a situation where, you know, the talent and the writer really, really do need each other. No doubt about it.
Just two hands clapping.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Vince,
Fair enough.
two-part question here in the statement. Yesterday's JCW was the best episode so far. It was really good. But I got a question for you. How do you go about writing these shows? What do you do? Or do you sit in a room? How do you do it? I want to know about your process and how you
Bro,
come up with this stuff.
I sit right here. I mean, this is where I do it right here. And what I do first and foremost is I look at last week's show. What
Okay.
happened on last week's show, and then basically and logically carry that over into the next week. That's how you get episodic, week to week, logical storytelling. So I always start with the last show I wrote and just make sure we continue to carry those storylines through.
I love what you're doing in JCW. I see you're bringing some realism into the storytelling. You're doing the promoter, the pictures with the girls and stuff. Like I see where you're going. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, and last night was a man. Last night I think was my 11th show. I want to say maybe my 12th. No, my 11th. It was my 11th, and I really enjoyed last night's show. You know, it took a while, man, because you got to get everything in place. You got to eliminate some of the stuff that maybe wasn't working, and it took about 2.5 to 3 months, but I think we're definitely hitting our stride now.
Oh, it's awesome. Love it.
It's a beautiful no, and it's really cool to see. Would you say that JCW would be the modern attitude era? If the attitude era stuck around, is this where it would evolve to?
No doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt. Like, man, when you look at mainstream companies, I have no interest working for those companies whatsoever. I'm really interested in the real evolution of wrestling. The evolution of wrestling wasn't to take the psychology of a wrestling match and turn it into gymnastics. That did not make the wrestling business better by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm just always looking to evolve it. When I say evolve it, make it more realistic. What are some of the things today that people are faced with? What are we dealing with in society? That type of thing. And I think we're tackling a lot of those issues at JCW.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Talking about the Attitude Era, though, how much of that era's success was timing versus creative risk, in your opinion?
Man, I think it was really both. I think it was both. But, you know, man, when I started writing for Vince, the WWF was just so far behind the times, man. And that was what I told Vince. I mean, that was the first thing I said to Vince is we've got to start mirroring society, man. We've got to, and that's what we did. And as soon as you start mirroring society, people are going to be able to relate to it. And that's basically what we did, man. We just mirrored what was going on at the time.
Amazing, amazing. What would you say was the biggest myth of the Attitude Era that fans have a misconception about?
Just that, like, people just kind of have a misconception of we did crazy things. I don't think we did crazy things at all. There was no nudity. There were no F-bombs dropped. I mean, there was nothing like that, but it was edgy. It was dangerous. It kept you on your toes. But there was nothing we did that I felt was just so risque. I mean, I don't think we did anything like that at all.
Vince, who would you say are your Mount Rushmores of writing in the wrestling business, excluding yourself?
Of writing?
Yeah.
Wow, bro. I mean, definitely Ed Ferrara. Bro, I got to be honest with you. When you're talking about writers, it's me and Ed Ferrara and nobody else.
For sure.
Because that was the difference, man. During the Attitude Era, now with JCW, I'm writing a television show.
Mhm.
I'm not booking a wrestling show. It's two completely different things. And outside of myself and Ed, and I guess Brian Gerwertz to some extent, I don't know Brian that well,
Okay.
bro. There were very, very, very few writers. Triple H certainly isn't a writer. Tony Khan certainly isn't a writer. So there were very, very few true writers in the history of the business.
What about Vince McMahon? What would you call him a writer? Did he write any of the shows with you, or just filtered your ideas?
Yeah, Vince was not capable of writing a show. You had to write the show for Vince. And that's what me and Ed did, man. We wrote the show for Vince. We presented it to Vince, and Vince would put his touches on it here and there. But Vince McMahon could never write a wrestling show from scratch. Never.
But he's good at seeing things far ahead and thinking it
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything we wrote, he could envision in his head and just tweak everything to make it that much better. That's where he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So would you say that Pat Patterson was the engine behind Vince McMahon before you guys came onto the scene?
Yeah, but he more in a wrestling sense.
Right.
Pat could lay out like unbelievable psychology matches. I mean, he was great at telling stories in the ring, man. No, I don't think anybody was better. I don't think anybody will be better.
Absolutely. Now, in the beginning of the interview, I said one of the most polarizing people in professional wrestling today. So a couple questions about the internet, Vince versus the internet, as I like to call it here. Why do you think you still trigger such a strong reaction from fans so many years later?
Well, they're not fans, they're marks, first of all. The internet wrestling community are not fans, they're wrestling marks. And what I mean by wrestling marks is, number one, they've somehow, some way convinced themselves that it's real. And number two is all they want is wrestling. 20-minute matches. They don't care about stories. They don't care about characters. That's not my audience. My audience are the millions and millions and millions of people that are no longer watching wrestling, that are not on the internet, that are not in internet wrestling communities.
Yeah.
That's my audience. So the internet wrestling community, those are the hardcore wrestling marks. And I do not write a style of wrestling that they like. And that's fine, because I know they're going to watch it no matter what.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They watch wrestling. That's what they do. So I clearly am not going to cater to them.
Right.
I am going to try to get all the casual fans that aren't watching wrestling.
Right.
Vince,
So
what are some of your most memorable storylines that you wrote in WCW?
WCW.
Yeah.
Probably, bro. My most memorable and my most favorite thing was, Booker T winning the belt. Because I don't know if that would have ever happened if I wasn't there, because it was such a political environment and Booker T was not a political guy at all. So he really, really needed to have somebody there who believed in him. So I'm just really glad that I was at least able to accomplish that there.
That was good.
Amazing. So Vince, very simply here, who was the most misunderstood talent that you ever worked with, in your opinion?
I would probably say Bret Hart, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bret gets a lot of punishment for a lot of the things that Bret says, but Bret speaks his mind, man. And Bret believes the things that he says. And Bret was never a political wrestler, man. He was never trying to get in favor with the office. He was never kissing anybody's ass.
Yeah.
He just spoke his mind, man. And I think Bret is a little misunderstood.
But do you feel that maybe Bret, and I love Bret, we're Canadians, right? So, I mean, for me, Bret Hart was the guy that got me into professional wrestling personally. But do you feel that he's almost living the gimmick too much now, to a certain extent? Like, it's almost like he's blurred lines between shoot and work?
I don't really think so, man.
No, okay.
I
Cool.
just think that's Brett.
Okay.
That's him. He's always been that way. That's
Okay.
Brett. You know what I mean? And I just really think he's just blatantly honest, and he's not looking to go back with one of these wrestling companies. I'm sure financially he's set, so he doesn't
Sure.
have to worry about that. I think it's just Brett being Brett.
Okay. And one follow up. What modern current wrestler today do you feel would thrive under your guidance and your style?
God, I'm trying to think of who's left. Um, Definitely Drew, without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely Drew McIntyre.
What about Logan Paul? I think he'd be a good fit for you.
Logan Paul's great.
Yeah,
Logan Paul is great. Logan Paul, Drew, those two are definitely up there. Um, yeah, God, man, I just Charlotte. Like, I mean, I couldn't believe I was reading an article in an interview with Charlotte the other day, and she said at one point creative had nothing for her.
it's crazy.
Like this is arguably the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and you have nothing for her.
Yeah,
So when I see people like that, man, I would have loved to have collaborated with them.
absolutely.
Vince, what are some of your most memorable moments when you were at TNA?
Um, God, bro. I would definitely say sports entertainment extreme because that was the evolution of wrestling.
Yeah,
A lot of that stuff was not scripted; it was all improv, and to me, that's where wrestling should have gone. So I love sports entertainment extreme in that little era of wrestling.
I know you talked about it before, but I'm going to bring it up on our show because maybe some of our fans haven't heard this. When Roddy Piper confronted you in the ring, that was a total shoot. Is that correct?
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah.
Great TV, by the way.
Great TV.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely great
What
TV.
was going
And
through your mind when Roddy came at you like that?
I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know what he was going to do. And that's the thing, man. Somehow we went from that to every freaking word being scripted. I don't know. I don't know how we got from point A to Z. I have no idea. But that was the most exciting time for me in wrestling.
Very
Agreed.
cool. Very cool. Vince, as we're getting to the end of this, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're all over the place. You're with coach. You're doing everything, man. Absolutely amazing work that we're seeing from you here on a daily basis. But before we let you go, we have a couple of things. Chance would love to do a couple of rapid fire things. But before we do that, very simply, what's your message to the wrestling world and to the wrestling community and to the world in general?
I can't tell you how many years I've heard from people who miss the Attitude Era. Casual wrestling fans know wrestling's fake. They want the show. They want the characters. They want the entertainment. That's been missing for a very, very long time. And that's why I'm just going to tell you, JCW, man, it's what you're missing. I wouldn't be working for any other wrestling company right now. Absolutely not. So just check it out, man. JCW Lunacy on YouTube
Yes, sir.
Thursday nights at 7 o'clock.
Amazing, amazing. And you're doing a great job with it. I'll be honest. It's really, really cool, man. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we're going. We got shows this weekend. I got to go to Denver tomorrow and then New
Amazing.
Mexico on Sunday. So yeah, we're gonna shoot 4 more episodes. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right, Vince, I'm going to play what's called a name game. I want to throw some names at you and just give me the first couple thoughts that come to your head about them.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Violent J.
Genius, incredible, huge heart, hard worker. I couldn't be working with a better partner.
Big Vito.
Committed. I mean, people don't understand. Vito's in his 60s and
Looks
he
great.
looks like he's in his freaking 30s. There's a lot of hard work involved in that.
Hulk Hogan.
A legend. I mean, when Hogan died, a huge piece of the wrestling business died with him. No question about it. There will never, ever, ever be another like Hulk Hogan ever.
Chris Jericho.
Just an entertainer, man. Just an all-around great entertainer that constantly knows how to stay relevant and reinvent himself. And I'm just lucky I got to work with him.
One more thing about Chris Jericho. I don't know if you've heard this. You're a big Kiss fan like I am. He's got a Kiss cover band called Quarantine. Have you checked it out?
What's the name of it?
It's called Quarantine with a K.
No, I have not. I did not know about
It's
that.
absolutely great. Check it out. He does 80s and 90s Kiss, non-makeup.
Oh, I got to check that out. That's awesome.
One more thing. What's your favorite Kiss album?
Bro, believe it or not, man, I swear to God, my favorite Kiss album is the first non-makeup album, like Lick It Up. I mean, that was the only album with Vinnie Vincent. And I love the songs on that album, man. I think that's a great album.
My favorite, I'm a little bit younger than you guys. My favorite is Revenge because I was 10 years old in 92 when I bought it. And I didn't even know they didn't have the makeup on until I bought the album. Great album, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing stuff here, man. We've covered everything that we need to cover here. Mr. Russo, Vince Russo, thank you so much for coming on our show. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we hope that you can come back on again. And if there's any of the guys from JCW that we can plug as well and have on the show, please do let us know. So that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels. And right below us, yes, don't adjust your screens, ladies and gentlemen, former world heavyweight champion. I've said that a couple of times here. Do you want to talk about that?
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Former world heavyweight champion of the world, writer extraordinaire, entertainer of the, just everything. This guy knows what he's talking about. Guys, check out his podcast. Check out JCW. Check out Vince Russo and make sure to check us out, Samp and Chance. Everyone, have a wonderful day. And we'll get back to you again soon. Samp and Chance and Vince out.